Off field. Left. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock her hips. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she pop her hips, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's over getting now. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
Oh my.
This ball's crushed to deep left. Back on it is Donovan. It's out of here. First big league homer for James Wood. A 3-run shot to the opposite field. And the 21-year-old will circle the bases.
YouTube, what's going on? It's your man Juan Gotti here. We have the Washington Commanders video. Now, Juan, why did you just kick off the video with the Washington Nationals clip? As some of you may know, I am a big baseball fan, just like I am Washington Commanders fan. And a lot of y'all may not be baseball fans, or y'all may be Orioles fans, because a lot of the older fans didn't have Nationals back in the day. They had the Baltimore Orioles as the home team. I just wanted to show you guys that clip because DC sports is on the rise. It's not just our Washington Commanders here, but the Nationals are on the rise, building something special there at Navy Yard. I love the Nationals, just like I love the Commanders, and that made me very, very excited to see James Wood hitting his first career homer, and hopefully many more. Brady House, Dylan Cruz, hopefully coming down the pipe maybe next year. Hopefully we can get this pitching rotation back healthy with Josiah Gray at the helm. K. Cavalli maybe come back next year. We can be back in business. We're not that far off of potentially coming back into a wild card spot with the NL being very weak right now. I don't see it happening. But next year, I think our Washington Nationals are going to be back active. All right, let's get to today's video. So, with training camp being on the horizon and that not being a lot to talk about, I decided why not do this today. We're going to talk about the 5 greatest / most notorious moments in Washington training camp history. Now, these are 5 moments that I vividly remember watching. I'm not about to go back to 1981 training camp because I wasn't alive during that time. Your list may be different than mine, and that's okay, and that's good. Leave down your 5 most notorious / greatest training camp moments that you can vividly remember watching for this team. All right, let's get to it. So, number 1, I am going to have a honorable mention, okay? This moment, again, I was not alive to see, but it was too great of a moment to not put on this list, and too notorious of a moment because actually the incident itself wasn't good. But I could not say this moment. I could not make this video without not saying this moment. So that is Michael Westbrook beating Stephen Davis up. 1997 is when this article was published. So I believe earlier that week. That happened August 1997. Stephen Davis and Michael Westbrook got into a fight. And all you see is Michael Westbrook beating the living crap out of Stephen Davis. For whatever the reason may be, that happened. And I could not make this most notorious / greatest moments list without putting that on there. If you guys were around for that time period, let me know how that was. What was your initial reaction to it? What was the reason for the altercation between these two? But man, that was a very crazy time period. Michael Westbrook eventually, I believe, got fined for it or whatever. But that was crazy. Again, 1997. I wasn't around, but I had to put this on the list because I could not go without it. Now, getting to the actual list. Number 5, I have the arrival of Chase Young. Now, obviously, you fast forward 2024, you see how that tenure planned out. Chase Young did not ultimately pan out here in Washington, but that cannot deny the fact that the arrival of Chase Young wasn't like mind-blowing. Like it was something that we thought was going to be absolutely crazy, and he was going to be a cornerstone for Ron Rivera's franchise moving forward. Again, ultimately, that did not pan out, but it was a number 2 overall pick. It was a hometown kid. He looked like a beast coming out of Ohio State. He's a big guy, 6'6" guy, looked intimidating, dreadlocks, visor. He looked intimidating on the field, and we thought he was going to be a beast. We thought he was going to pick up right where Ryan Kerrigan left off, and that was far from the truth. But again, the arrival of Chase Young back in 2020, it was something to be hyped about because, again, it was COVID year that year too. So it wasn't a lot of news or a lot of in-person coverage of him during his training, before training camp. and it was kind of like a rarity because not everyone could go out there to training camp. So to see him in person live, it was like, man, this kid looks special. And he made an immediate impact there in training camp, beating up on guys like Morgan Moses and other on that offensive line, making an immediate impact. So, number 5, the arrival of Chase Young. You could throw RG3 in there, but again, that was back in 2012. I loved football. I knew about football, but I wasn't like Juan Gotti talking sports. I was like, 8 years old back then, so I knew who he was, but I wasn't like this how I am now. So, moving on to the next topic that I have. You could go ahead and say, for me, the hype around Terrell Pryor. Now, if you guys could go back a couple years, when we first signed Terrell Pryor, I was absolutely ecstatic about the hire because the Terrell Pryor I knew was Raiders quarterback taking it 100 yards down the field. That's the one that I remember growing up on and watching. But I did know he made the transition to wide receiver. And was it with Cleveland, I want to say? I don't know what team it was initially with, but I know he made the switch to receiver. And when we signed him, he came out with the one-handed catches in training camp, the visor, the tattoos, looking legit. And I'm a kid again. I'm memorized by Odell Beckham and Odell Beckham's ability to do the one-hand catch and all that. So that was that era of football. And I'm like, man, maybe we got our very own Odell Beckham here in Washington with Terrell Pryor. And I was absolutely ecstatic by it. And I thought this guy was going to be really, really good in Jay Gruden's office. I thought he was going to be Kirk Cousins' main target to pair up with Jordan Reed. And, man, was I far from the truth. Training camp-wise, it was fun to watch him. The catches, the one-hand catches, the swag he brought. But did that ultimately turn out to be another bust signing by the Washington franchise, as he did not do anything for us? Again, remember, that was the year where we beat the Raiders Sunday Night Football. Then Monday Night Football, we went to Kansas City, had an opportunity to beat the Chiefs in Chiefs Kingdom. Terrell Pryor drops the wide open touchdown. So that ultimately didn't turn out to be nothing of much, but that was a notorious training camp moment for me, specifically because I thought he was about to be a dog, right? Okay, then moving on to the next one. This is the one that everyone knows right here. D'Angelo Hall tears his Achilles versus DeAndre Hopkins. Now remember, this is when the Houston Texans was on Hard Knocks. I would love to show the footage, but I'm going to get copyrighted, so unfortunately I can't, but you know what I'm talking about. This is when DeAndre Hopkins was on the Houston Texans, and they had Hard Knocks, and they had their joint practices with us on Hard Knocks, and DeAndre Hopkins and D'Angelo Hall was going back and forth, and D Hall was saying what he was saying, D Hop was saying what he was saying. D Hop like, I'm a grown man, dog. I'm a grown man, blah blah blah. I remember that. And then they lined it up. This boy D Hop took D Hall's soul, man. He absolutely tore his Achilles, killed him on the route, completed the catch. D Hall was down, and that was one of the most legendary, notorious moments, not only in Washington's training camp history, but Hard Knocks training camp history, because the mic'd up, the trash talk back and forth, and then to get left like that was prime D-Hop too, man. That was prime DeAndre Hopkins right there, and D-Hall was on the tail end of his career. So that's one of the moments that I again vividly remembers, seeing D-Hall getting obliterated by D-Hop. Then you got the Redskins fight with the Jets next. Trent Williams starts it off. Remember, Trent Williams was always on go, bruh. He was always on go. And me and my mans was just talking about this. He was there at training camp when this happened. And we were talking about it just recently. And he was like, bruh, I remember watching this fight start off. Like the Jets training camp practice. We was doing the joint practice, and they just had a routine play. Chris Thompson had the ball, and he got shoved out of bounds. Don't know exactly what happened from my view because I wasn't there, but all you see is Trent Williams just swing, and then that's when the brawl just happens. The whole team, you see Jordan Reed up in that thing, and it just comes together in just a humongous brawl. I know a lot of y'all remember that. that was a crazy time. My mans that was there, he told me, like, bruh, Jay Gruden and that staff had them running like sprints after that, like punishing them for doing this. They was running sprints. He was like, bruh, I didn't even know they did that in the pros. I thought that was just some high school stuff right there, but they was running, I guess, gashers, sprints, whatever, suicides, whatever you call it, after that situation happened. And that was very, very crazy of a time. But that's something that I do vividly remember. Trent Williams was always on go. If it wasn't training camp, it was the Seahawks one versus Richard Sherman after we lost to the playoffs. Vividly remember that one. There in San Francisco, now, where he body slammed the guy in the NFC Championship just a year ago. Like, he's always on go. I love big Trent Williams, bro. All right, and then the last one, it's not too long ago. Last training camp, you have Eric Bieniemy, who was a hard butt, and players complained about it. And that is a notorious training camp moment for me because, again, I'm young. So my training camp memories go but so far. So I know a lot of y'all probably like, hey, Juan, 1987, man, this happened, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember that. But Eric Bieniemy last year, being a hard butt, players complained about it. That was the foreshadowing of what was to come. We didn't think of nothing about it. We tried to ignore it. We tried to be behind EB, calling the players out, like, man, it's football, toughen up. But no, man, these players had all the right to feel that way. They were complaining. We still don't know who specifically it was complaining, but it turns out like they had all right to. You know what I'm saying? Because he was coaching them too hard and too hard to lose. So that's another one that I have. Ron Rivera basically spilling the beans about it. He didn't have to come to the press conference. Remember, he did not have to come back to the press conference or come to the press conference and mention that. He went out his way to mention players coming to his office to complain about Eric Bieniemy to him. And Ron Rivera kind of just like, go take it up with him. Remember, Ron Rivera gave this man too much power, bro. But those are my 5 most notorious / greatest moments. And the honorable mention of Michael Westbrook and Stephen Davis fight back in 1997 of Washington training camp. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. What are your most notorious moments in a Washington franchise training camp history? Leave it down below. I would love to hear about it. As always, it's me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a blessed one. Don't forget to use promo code Juan Gotti on SeatGeek to get 20% off your first purchase. All right. See y'all later.